Try another way to go live. He's not answering. People are on.
Hey guys, how are you doing tonight? Well, tonight we are going to do a still life of sunflowers. And so what I'm going to try and do is step by step and show you how to do them. So bear with me and bear with yourselves on this too, because we all know that it's going to be a little challenging, but it's going to be fun and exciting to do it. And hopefully I am able to explain what I'm doing properly and show you the materials that I'm using and what I'm doing. So I'll do step by step on what I'm using and why I use it. But also don't worry about anything, because if you don't have what I use, just use what you have. That's the beauty about this whole process, is use what you got and enjoy the process. Don't get stressed. Don't like, oh my gosh, I don't have the proper pencil, little marker that I have here. So don't worry about any of that. So let me explain to you what I'm using, and then you guys have set up, and we'll just work through the whole thing. So what I'm going to be doing the piece on is an Arches watercolor paper. I'm using that versus a canvas because it's a little bit quicker and I can go a little faster with it. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, this whole little process is going to take about 30 minutes. But at home, you can take more time and work on your canvas and go back and forth and pause what I'm doing and then work that way. So, but I'm going to go fast and furious, but I want this so you can actually see a finished product. And this is the best way for me to do this.
And they can pause during this time.
And you can pause during this time or whatever you need to do. So, Arches watercolor paper. I'm using Da Vinci paints. And so the different colors that I'm using is I'm using white, yellow ochre, cadmium red light, a turquoise blue, and what am I using here? Ultramarine blue. So those are the colors that I have laid out here. But if you don't have those, then use a dark blue, light blue, red, all that. And then also I got paper. If you don't have paper, use a rag, whatever you got going on. And then I have a Stay Wet pad. I like using these because it's got a little sponge in there, and you can put this piece of paper on there and it stays nice and wet, and your acrylic stays really good on it. So we're using acrylic, if I didn't mention that earlier. And it's got a little lid so you can go back tomorrow and work with it. Brushes. I'm using Dick Blick brushes. I like them. They're cheap and cheerful, so they work great. So that's it. And then we're going to be drawing this sunflower piece right over here. I got a little display set up, so you guys can all see the little sunflower that I got going on here. And bear with us, this is the first time that me and Deborah are doing this on our own.
And you're not reading comments.
And I'm really not reading comments back there because I don't want to have to get up and look at it. And so anyway, so that's what we're doing. Can they see the still life? Okay, so
a little bit, not
a little bit. Here, can we just pan over to it just a little bit, just so I can show it to them. So this is the still life. We're doing it 3 flowers. The reason why 3 is it's nice to do odd numbers. It looks great on the piece of paper or anything you do. So how to get started is first we're going to do our horizon line. If you've done the How to Paint a Palm Tree with me similar but completely different. So, but we will start with a line going across. You know, I'm going to angle it like this, like it's my table side over there. You can't see it, but, and then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the top of my vase, and I'm drawing a circle. Just like that. And then where the vase comes in,
Something comes up that you need to tell me.
I'm going to draw another circle. And then one more circle right here. So I'm drawing these circles, these ovals here, and then down here. So these are all different sizes. So what I'm going to do is then I'm going to connect the dots. And there's your vase. So we're going to do a lot of different circles. And then with the flowers, we're going to do some circles also. We're going to start with a circle here. That's the center of the sunflower. We're going to do another one here. We're going to make this one face up. So I'm going to do an oval going this way. And then I'm going to do another one kind of facing this way. So those are the centers of each one of my sunflowers. And then what I'm going to draw down is, I'm going to down and do a stem. Boom. Stem. Can't really see this stem here. This one we'll see a little bit more. So we'll try and draw this and then bring it down. So those are your stems of your vase, and they go right into your vase. And I'm painting a blue vase, so this is all going to be covered up. This is just to keep you going in the direction. So, and then what we're going to do is we're going to draw a shadow. So I'm going to pick my light source coming from here, going this way, going straight across. So with that being said, then we draw a line this way. And so this piece right here will drop a shadow right here. And then this will drop a shadow on the edge of your vase. And this will be back here on your wall. So, I know it looks a little overwhelming right now, but just remember, break it down step by step. Pause me, put me on, just kidding. And then so, and then for the flowers, we're just going to do some petals. Just some fun eyelashes, basically. We're going to do, and this one's going to come up this way, up this way, up this way, and this one's going to go out this way, this way, like that. So, I'm going to do a little. The stem comes in, a little back of the flower. I can see a little bit from this angle. So, and later down the road, you guys can set up your own still life and draw it and paint it from there. So, I'm just giving you the basics of what to do. Hopefully that I can explain it as I go through and do it. So, from there, we have a sketch. So, I'm going to put this aside. And then I'm going to start laying out my palette. You guys can all see this. And I'm going to hold it up here. So we're going to do our dark blue. Sorry. Light blue. Red. I'm going to put the red right here. And this is how I'm laying out my own palette. You can lay it out the way you want. Yellow ochre, cadmium yellow. If you don't have it, yellow, and a white. And I'm going to put my white right down over here. Put a little bit more white. So that's how I'm laying out my palette. So when I talk about dipping into the paint, then I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be bouncing around these colors. I'm going to start with a little bit bigger brush right here. And I'm going to set this down. So the first thing that I'm going to start with is my blue. My darker blue. I'm going to go right in here. Also, I didn't say this earlier, you need a container with some water in it. I got a couple different size brushes here. We're not going to use this one today. We'll just take this one right out of there. We'll put that one in my other container over here. So we got a couple different size brushes. Small, medium, and large. So I'm going to start with my large brush. This is my medium brush, which if you're looking at numbers, it's about 1/2 inch wide. And then we got our fine little liner brush. So I'm going to set that right over there. Okay, so dipping it into the water, I'm going for the blue, the dark blue, and I'm going to start painting the side of my vase in. I'm just going to start going for it. And boom, there. And then I'm going to I'm going to take that same darker blue and mix it with a little bit of lighter blue. And then we're going to do that side. So, getting it all put in there. And I'm thinking about the shape of my vase. And I got a nice curve over this side. I'm just playing with these two colors together. So remember when you're painting that you have the light side and the dark side of your painting. So the light side of the vase is here, the dark side's over here. So, and we're just working along with it. I expect all your pieces to be masterpieces, and I want you to post them and tag me, and so I get to see them all. But we can talk about that as we go through. And you guys will be able to do a great job doing it. So I'm just filling it in. Start with a vase. Sometimes you can start with a background if you want. I'm going to do it this way. This is not necessarily the correct way to do it, but it's not how I want to do it today. Because I want to really show you how to get the shapes going of your vase. So I haven't gone into any other colors. I'm just using the blues, the light blue and the dark blue. So those are the two ones that I'm working with. And I'm just getting the shape of my vase down, going through. So as we do this, I'm going to show you how to highlight, but we're going to let that set up a little bit. We're not going to go right into the vase and try and highlight. So we got those two down. Rinse our brush. That's that water container you hear wrangling around back there. So wiping it off, I'm dabbing it on my paper towel or anything that you have to dab on. Pant leg, fluffy dog, whatever you hear going on. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that red and we're going to paint our shadow. So I'm going to take the red and a little bit of the blue. And red and blue make purple. So I'm going to make a nice purpley shadow. So I'm going to go back here and just go right into it. So now the two colors I'm using is that darker blue and the red. And so I'm going a little bit more with the red, so it has that little shape to it, and I'm going backwards. And then what I'll do is right underneath my vase, because I want to make sure it sits on the tabletop, I go a little bit darker shadow because it's closer. And then what we're going to do as we work through this, I will show you how to pop that even more, because the contrast of things closest to you is the darkest and the lightest. So this is foreground, it's a still life, it's close to you, so you want your high contrast in. You want your muted colors more in the background. So that's what I'm doing there. we're just going to put that in there. And like I said, we're going fast and furious for this because I know there's a bunch of kids watching me and painting along with us, and the adults will take 4 hours and the kids will take 15 minutes, so I'm trying to balance it between the two. So, and then I'm doing a little bit of color there, and so I'm going to put a little bit of the background in. You know what might look this really cool is I'm going to take a little bit of that red and the yellow ochre together. Red and yellow ochre. And we're going to paint a little bit of the background here. So just to give it a little bit of contrast. So we're just, but you can use whatever colors you want for this. So don't worry about if you decide to use hot pink, you can totally do that. And I'm just trying to limit what I'm using for colors because just to try and limit the palette. But you know, I've done sunflowers with hot pink backgrounds, blue backgrounds, black backgrounds, all different colors. Whatever is your fancy. And then what I'm going to do too is I'm going to add a little bit of that yellow ochre, and I'm going to do a tabletop. So I'm going to do a little bit here. I'm adding a little more yellow ochre, and it's moving around a little bit on me. We're going to make the tabletop a little bit more like this. And so we're just kind of painting away. So we're getting all the shapes down. So, because I know you guys are all going to be stressed out as soon as we start hitting those flowers. So that's going to be the next step. But I want you to just get used to the brushes, get used to moving your paint around, and see that I had a little run there and I just smudged it in. So now we're getting ready for the flowers. We are ready to attack those. So what we're going to do first is we're going to actually take a little bit of that red and a little bit of the blue, and we are going to paint the center in. Look at that. I'm going with that nice bright red. I'll mix a little bit of the yellow ochre in there. I'm painting all the centers of my flowers. Those nice ovals that I started. So we were going on and painting those in. Look at that. We're getting all those down. So, putting them in. Boom, and then we got them all circled in there. Everyone's just like, those just look like floating flowers, not centers of flowers. So we're going to go back and I'll show you how to highlight those in next. So, but before we do that, we're going to clean our brush off. Clean it pretty good, okay? Because we're going to switch some colors around. Because we're going to start putting the flowers in. I don't know if you guys can see this. We're going to start putting these petals in. So what we're going to do is start doing that next. And I'm taking a little of that red and yellow. And I'm making basically a little bit darker, light orangey yellow. So that color, it's not as light as the actual yellow, but it's pretty light. So we're going to be painting them all in here. And the reason why we're doing it this way is because when we go back in and we start popping out those flowers, we're going to need the contrast. And I keep talking about contrast. So the contrast of these, they'll help you make it rounder in that shape. And so remember, we're doing the shadows a little bit darker, a little bit darker, a little bit further back. So we're doing that, and then so we're doing our background of this. So how are we all doing? Hopefully we're all doing great. If you guys like this, post, tag me, and let me know. And if you want me to do another one, I'll be happy to do another one. We'll find something out, maybe how to paint one of my little shacks or something. We can do that, or how to paint an Adirondack chair. And we can keep doing this because I'm not traveling that much. I'm home, which is a wonderful thing, but it's also, I'm here. So we're all kind of stuck at home, and so let's enjoy it and take some painting classes. We can all be together, but in a different way. So as I'm going back in, and watch me take that yellow, look at that, look how that just turned into one of these flowers. It was just a simple little, we're doing more yellow and we're popping it. More yellow, boom. And then we're going to do a little bit of highlight back there because that's where the light's going to hit it. And then we go like this. See how we got that super dimensional? Just by 2 brush strokes. So when I started painting sunflowers, I just fell in love with the shape of them. Big fan of Van Gogh's sunflowers. I enjoyed doing those, looking at them. I used to buy them for my wife when she wasn't my wife. So watch this. Ready? Watch this brush stroke. It's got the yellow on it. Look, dab, dab, yellow, yellow. And if here you don't have enough contrast, go into that white. There's a reason why we put that white out. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to do this sunflower right here and see how the leaves go up. So we're going to do those. And remember, I was talking to you about things that are closer or lighter and darker. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but I will show you this as we work through this. So we want the front leaves to really pop. And look how they pop over that darker background. And we're just rolling them around. Look at that. See how that's all starting to come together? And I know you guys all come together too. We're just boom, boom. Let's see how we got those all set up. Very similar to our little vase here. There we go. So now we have to paint some stems in. So we're going to paint a few stems. We're going to clean our brush again, and I'm going to go to a slightly smaller brush. Small, medium, and large brush, medium-sized brush. I'm going to mix up some green, because we didn't have green. So how we're going to mix the green is, we're going to use some of this darker blue here, put it right over here, and then we're going to use some of this yellow, and we're going to put it right here. Yellow and blue make green. Look at that. There we go. And so we're going to paint the stems in. If you have green, go ahead and use it. Whatever you have. I don't have any out on my palette, so I'm going to make it. So we're doing this, and we're just going to be how the stems are in the back. Bring it down into our vase. We painted a solid vase color, so it's a little bit easier to drop it in. We're not going to try and do all the reflections. We're going to do some reflections. But we're not going to do a whole bunch of reflections because it's a solid blue base. And we go back in, and then we can mix a little bit of the darker blue, so we got a little variations in our green. And we're making the stems. So we're just kind of going right along. And remember, the stems are round, so we got different colors. And so you can add a little bit of the, I'm dabbing a little bit of the white to make my green a little lighter. So I got a little different color. Because I'm looking at this going, look at I got the darker and a little lighter. So I'm going to try and get that. And if you'll notice, so the stem's round, so we're going to highlight one side of the stem and darken the other side. So we highlight this side, highlight this side, and then darken the other side. And then we're going to just use our darker blue and go in. Highlight, and then we might have a little bit of shadow down coming through. Just kind of make it a little round. We're just kind of bringing it around. And I'm starting one side and dragging it over. And that's a good way to make something round. There we go. So, and it all depends on what you want to do for your background, because we talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm going to let that kind of sit there for a second. So, your background, to make this come out more, right now I'm doing it on white. I'm going to clean my brush, switch over to the little bit larger brush. I'm going to go take the yellow ochre and white. And I'm just going to put it in the background here. But you, like I said, you can use any color you want for the background. I'm going to go more white than anything. Just putting a little bit of paint back here just to pop it off. And I might add a little bit of the blue to it, just kind of make it contrast a little. And just painting it in. Hopefully everyone's having a good time doing this. And you know, you don't have to follow any particular direction when you're doing the background. You're just putting a little in there. And you can do this first. Cover up a couple of my brush strokes and just enjoying the process of putting the paint down. And I'm cutting it in a little. I'm going like this, giving a little shape to my flowers. So basically what I'm doing too is I'm painting the negative space around my flowers, and I'm using that to shape my flowers. So I go there, and I'm shaping, so I'm making that a little bit, and then I drop in here, here, and look how that actually defines my leaves. So I'm using the background to define my leaves. And then maybe I want to do a little bit of that over here. A little here. Oh, a little run. And just play with it a little bit. I'm touching it a little bit with my blues just to give it a little different. Okay, so now I'm looking at my vase and I'm realizing that I need to do something in there. So I have it dark here, light here. I'm going to go back into this a little bit and add the darker side of the vase, like this. And I'm going to use some of that purple that I made earlier. Remember how we used that cadmium red and blue? So I'm just going to paint that little section in here and here. So that helps me get a little round going on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and highlight my vase. So I'm going to go back in, and remember the vase is round. I'm going to highlight here, going to hit along the top here, little spot here. Well, maybe I'll drag it this way. And then I'll drag that bottom piece right there, because remember we were talking about making it round, and go back in. So this is the basics of doing a sunflower. You can refine it, spend some more time with it. I'm going to highlight a little bit. I'm just throwing some highlights in here. Boom, here. Use different size brushes. And go ahead and enjoy the process of trying to do that. And then I'm going to go back in real quick, my little fine brush, and mix up a little bit of the darker purple. I'm going to put a little of that dark purple on my thing. And I'm just going to throw a few little highlights in, just to define the shape of the flowers. Just wispy little brush strokes here. And a little bit of a shape going on. Now this is a little bit more of an advanced class, but I figure you guys all have plenty of time to work on it. But please, make sure you take pictures, post them, tag Steve Barton. And then what all that does is put you in a drawing to win a piece. And so when that is what we'll do is I'll do one face-to-face with you over FaceTime Live, and you can actually watch me paint your piece and give it to you. So please, post, tag, be excited about your piece, and enjoy the process, and love to paint. And I'm just going to throw a few more highlights around here and a little darker lines just to give it a little more shape to it. But I really want you guys to enjoy the process of painting and enjoy the time. Install it, go back and forth, but please post them so everyone can see what you're doing. Let me know, comments, and let me know if you want me to do this again next week. I'm totally here. I've got nothing else going on. I'm just here in my studio painting away, and I would love to do another project with you. So give me some comments, post your stuff, and tell me what else you guys want to learn how to paint. Okay? Well, thank you guys.